let's continue with our .NET migration example. Let's remind ourselves what we are left from day one. We had implemented the .NET Web API service back then, and now we need to implement a user interface that consumes this API. This will be a Next.Js React application like this. So let's check the API that we have built previous day. By the way, if you came to this video and didn't watch day one video, please go back in the playlist and first watch day one. And the day one was the API and backend service and the first building block in our application. So now, as you can see, our backend is developed and living in the Northwind API folder. Let's say .NET run. And it's hosted at the 5205. If you go to that port in the Swagger, we can see our entities: category, customer, order, order details, product, supplier, everything is here. Let's start from scratch and build a consumer React API. Let's rename this tab, make it React. So here we are. The first command will be npx create next app at latest Northwind front-end. Last time we made a mistake, a typo in the folder name. Let's check the folder name. By the way, in the React application, the folder name cannot have capital letters, so I cannot make it a capital Northwind front-end. So I am using dash. Let's make it. It is asking, would you like to use TypeScript? Yes. Would you like to use ESLint? No. Tailwind CSS? Yes. Source directory? No, not necessarily, because this is a POC, but the source directory maybe in the future. Or because this product is a whole with the backend and the front end, maybe the source folder contains Northwind API along with this React application, so the source directory is not necessary right now. App router? Yes, it's recommended. TurboPack? Yes, for development purpose. Import alias? No. Now it's installing dependencies, React, Next, and TypeScript, Tailwind. Let's wait. Yes, edit 48 packages. Success. Now go to the folder Northwind Frontend. Let's check. Yes, the configuration files and the app folder, everything is here. Everything necessary for starting a project from scratch with React. But you need to also axios for fetch data and component library. It's optional, but not recommended. But for simplicity, I am using axios like this. npm install axios at then stack react query. I mean, because our backend bone is web API, this querying method very fine. And also I will use shotcn UI too. Shotcn UI. Didn't I make a typo? No. And Tailwind CSS, which is very fine, dark theme. Now it's installing necessary packages. I made a typo again. It must be a ton stack, not 10 stack. So now install the 10 stack React query into our DOM. And think about it, the orders has dates. I mean, definitely we need to use some date picker. So let's install the npm install react date picker. Date picker is installing. Great. Now we can go inside and check what has been generated for us by the npm. All right, right now we can see at tsconfig.json, which is all necessary properties generated. We can see the Tailwind CSS in the config, post CSS, package.json. All of our packages are there. I mean, we can check the next config ts. Here it is. And this file should not be edited. Next environment. Come to that in the future. Let's go to app folder, which is our main folder. For each entity, we need to implement a route. So we need the folders: categories, customers, orders, products, suppliers. And right now let's start with the global CSS. I mean, we can see the Tailwind CSS, but we cannot see the date picker. So in the future we need to have the date picker. So let's write React date picker CSS here. Distribution React date picker CSS. That's it. Now we have the date picker too. We have background white, foreground dark, but in the dark theme, vice versa. The background is dark and foreground is white and bright. The inline fonts looks very okay. In the body, background is the background color, foreground, and fonts are okay. But in my experience, in the layer base, we need to also update the dark theme for the combo box and typical stuff, input stuff from the HTML. Let's target first the drop downs, the combo boxes. Select options. What's optional? It's option. Option is the HTML tag of any drop down items, combo box item. So it needs to have a background color of background, and the color of foreground needs to be foreground. I don't think we don't need anything more. In the layout, let me think about it. This layout is too much. First thing first, yeah, we need the root layout, but we don't need to have this anti-alias HTML body with this font. Let's make it much simpler. In the body, we need only providers. And the providers, doesn't know what the provider is. I don't need this Google font, case mono, forget about it. Metadata, the title, create next step, which is not, it's not wind Frontend, generated by create next step. No, generated by August for the day 2. You see. Okay, global CSS is here. What is next? Providers. Import providers from provider is done. Yes, I did a typo again. Yeah, there it is. Providers, and I will come to these providers right away. Right now, this is the default page, so we don't need this default page. Nothing. We don't need anything here, and we will delete everything here. Footer, we don't need it. We don't need this div. Okay, what we need is links. Import link from next/link. Okay, yes, we will use the links, and let's start a div. I'm thinking a menu vertically aligned with buttons. Each button should represent an entity, like categories, customers, orders, a basic menu. So let's make it happen. With the class name block. No, it shouldn't be block. It should be flex. I think flex columns. Items needs to be horizontally centered, and justify center. This CSS is killing me. Horizontal screen, and heading can be 4. Okay, now it's much more happy. Let's put a header here. The class name, it should be big. It's header UXL, and font can be semi-bold and MB8, north wind app, we can say. Now let's put another div for the links below the header. The header will be Northwind API, and below there are buttons, and each button we click, we got a list of that entity. Like if we click category, we go to category page, we list all categories, and we click add new, we can add any new category, we delete in the grid, we can modify elements in the grid, something like that. So let's make a flex again here, and width will be max width will be x small, and space will be in the y-axis, it can be 4, because 4 is very good number for padding. So first link can be categories. Let's make a style about it. Plus name, it can be a block. I'm trying to make it look like a button. Width is full, text is centered, background color can be green 500, font should be semi-bold, text is white, we are using dark theme, it should be rounded button, we can use padding 3, and the cursor should be hand, cursor pointer, like this. The categories, yeah, we can copy and paste all the links, like let's categories and we turn into products. Let's make products, and all the other links we can copy and paste like this: customers, suppliers, orders. Okay, the enter page is here, layout is set. Let's get back to providers. What are the providers? Okay, let's create a new file here, Providers.tsx. In the Provider.tsx, we need to import the query that we installed before. 10 stack React query client and query client provider. Oh, it's automatically filling the gaps. Visual Studio Code is very good. Either use state. Also, we need to use this. We can call it from React and export default function providers and children, something like that. And children, all the children is React. No, sorry, React no, bad naming. That's React's problem, not mine. So constant a query client, use state, new query client. Okay, and this will provide some query capability for all pages, so we don't repeat ourselves. As an HTML, what we return a query client. No, query client provider. Client is query client like this. Okay, and inside we can render the children. So now with this providers, the layout has a meaning. Right now we have a React component called providers, and the children as a node can be rendered as a provider, and all the providers will have the 10 stack React query inside it as a query client. I think we are fine. Let's go inside to categories. Let's write the page.tsx. First thing first, we will use our use query, client, and mutation from 10 stack query. And if necessary, we will use the parameters and the router from the navigation, because we will navigate it here and we may handle some kind of URL string parameters or other type parameters. We will use axios from axios, and we will link some links again. So let's export default function categories. Constant query client is use query client. Use query client is a method from the query client provider. I mean, it's open source, and check. So router, const router is use router. Same again. We need to first fetch categories. So to be able to do that, we need to again define these categories in our browser memory. Const data categories is loading and error. I mean, we can use query, and in the use query, how do we use it? A query key we need to tell it. The query key would be categories. Query function async delegate of the function. Let's await axios to get. I mean, let's go back and check the category get function returns write out execute gets loading all the categories like category ID, name, and description. I mean, we can get the category with this requested URL. So let's get them. HTTP localhost 5202.05 slash category as we said in the API, and we can return the result or response data. So this is how we return the category, but there would be on the screen edit and delete and add new category buttons too. In order to handle delete, we will use a mutation. We can make it like this: constant delete mutation and use mutation, something like that. Mutation function can be async, and it will be an ID. Let's check the go back and check the category service. It will delete with an ID in our method, and if we try it out, it should be pass a ID as a parameter to the delete HTTP delete method of service. So according to this, we can write our mutation function with an ID as a number and delegate to an axios delete function over again HTTP localhost / category, and we will give ID as a query string parameter. Don't forget semicolon. On success, if it is succeeded, another delegate. We can tell the user on success. We don't need to tell the user. I mean, we can invalidate only. Let's query client invalidate queries and query key categories. But on error, we can show an error, at least in the console error relating category, and show the error. And also we can alert with a message box, a default message box, failed to delete category. For each entity is the same. So don't forget the semicolon. Let's handle the delete. Const handle delete with an ID as a number and delegate to this method. We can ask if confirm, this confirm aims to libdom. So if you know very good this API, this JavaScript confirm will ask the user in the default message box, confirm what you ask. So I mean, to be able to use React as a user interface, as a developer, the JavaScript and the TypeScript knowledge needs to be refined. So without a good JavaScript knowledge, understanding React and making use of it is very hard. So I recommend you check that skills. Are you sure you want to delete category with ID and question mark? Looks convenient. If user confirms it, okay, then delete with your implemented mutation and mutate ID. If it's loading, just return loading screen, loading. I mean, in the future you can implement something. Right now I'm just writing a text, loading dot dot dot. So if it's an error thrown up, just return a div with error loading categories. But if it doesn't have an error and it's not loading, you can draw actual user interface here. Let's make it a div, a holder div. Think about it. I'm thinking a screen like this. In the top of corner, we will have an add new and go back and home buttons. I mean the main menu. Underneath, I will draw a grid, a data grid with the whole items, like in our entity, it's category. So we need to have the categories listed below. And in the right-hand side, left-hand side column, of course, will be the ID. And the right-hand side column will be raw actions like editing that record, deleting that record, and whatever that category has, maybe sub-elements. Think about it. If we go to a category, each category, I think, has a product. Yes, I remember correctly. So each row in our user interface needs to have a button that will lead to details. Like the details is products right now, and the main item is the category. So each category row needs to have a product button. We need to click it and go to the product screen and see the products of that category. So as you wrote in the providers, services, and the controllers, now we are carrying out the same logic from the tip to toe here. So let's go back to coding and let's write the div class name typo, means padding 4. So it's a little bit smaller than the screen. So give it a header with the class. It should be, it's large text with semi-bold font, and in the bottom we can give a margin of 4 pixels. Categories, you can say in the header. So div class name. Now we can put the buttons, the actual action buttons for the categories. It should be a flex, and items should be scratch, and we can give a margin of 4 in the below. Let's use the link again. Link with the class name. Now we can use a lightweight blue links. Think about it. Text blue, classic text typed basic link with px5. On the xi side, I am using a padding because the buttons doesn't, I don't want the buttons glue himself each other. So cursor, pointer, and the target should be home. This is the home button. Let's copy this link below and create an add new. It should be an add new, and the target would be the categories / add. So did you get what I mean? Right now we will put a new folder called add, and inside the add folder we will put a page.tsx, and inside that we will represent the user interface of the adding new category, and it repeats itself. This is the pattern we will use. So I think below this div, we need to create a table for representing the grid as name. It will be a table plus an auto table, table auto with full. So it will be auto generated table, and the size of the bit will be whole screen. Let's put the headers for the categories. As you can see in the service output, in the category, the Swagger UI will give you the types and schemes right in the footer. There is a category ID, name and description, nothing more. So we need to have 3 columns here. th, first tr. Of course the header is a row also, and inside that there is a th header. By the way, this tr needs to have a class name, border b, will be looking nice, and this th will class name border b. Okay, should it be? No. That th can has text, will be aligned to left, and padding will be 2, and we can call it id, it's category id. So let's copy paste these headers, and next will be the category name, call it name, and this will be description, category description. I will put a last column which is called action. So inside this column I will put the action buttons, like go to the products of this category, edit this category, or delete this line from the database. So this is the header of the table. Let's go to body of the table, and we go to body, categories, map, category. For each category we need to draw a row. Here that category, category id, and class needs to have a border b. When we hover mouse over the row, it can be, if it's a dark theme, it can be orange. 950, which is 999 is the maximum. This will be pretty look good. If it doesn't, we see to it. Let's put columns with padding 1. First column is the id and category id, and the second, again padding 1, it needs to be the name, category name, and the last column with padding 1, category description, like this. All the property columns are done. Now we go to actions, same padding, and first action needs to be a link, it needs to be an edit. So let's go to categories road, which is where we are right now, and edit road, and inside the edit we can give category id. That's it. Last name, it could be a text link with blue color, 500, and padding can be 1. This is our link. So inside our link we can say it edit. After edit we need to have a delete button. It needs to be a button because on click event I will connect this button to handle delete and delete mutations. Button plus, it can be a red one, it's 500 p1, and because it's a button, automatically it doesn't get the finger. Let's put the finger with cursor pointer. On click we can delegate the handle delete with category id parameter. That's it. That's our button. Inside the button we can write delete. So the last thing would be the products of the category. So for this we can write the class name, text blue, 500, and p1, padding 1, and cursor needs to be a pointer. And the target needs to be slash products slash category. That's my way. I will go to the product section, products road. Inside the products road I will build a category road, category folder. So inside that I will give the category id. That means for our design, please bring me in this user interface some products with particular category id. So this will be working like a product filter and linked from the categories products. Yep, something fishy here. I see here we need to open and close parentheses. Okay, so we run JavaScript command our map, and inside the map command we draw our table. Now let's go to categories, edit /by id, because here we made something like that, categories edit /id. Let's create this page.tsx here. So again we import what we need to use: router, effect, state, axios, and link. And as we import, right now we can write our UI code with this function edit category. Here it is. So there needs to be first of all the ID, and it will came from the parameter. So we say use params from the parameter, and the router is use router we will use to navigate around our application, and constant category, and it needs to have a set category method. It will use state of what? Use state of category ID. I mean, I'm defining actual category here with a set category method as a use state. Category name. I mean, this is the same thing, by the way, how the category defined from the backend. Get this: an integer, a string, and a string as a description. So category name is a string. By the way, category name. Again, we made a typo, and a semicolon, colon. Name, category, description. Yep. So let's use effect, all those parentheses. Yeah, make a delegate, tell the axios, get what? HTTP, I mean, here it is, HTTP localhost 5205 / category / ID. Then response, handle response, again inside the handler array, that category, which is defined here, and we will put data. So this is the get. We need to also dependency is this here. The ID is the dependency here. And about submit the form, we'll edit and we'll submit. And submit is a async method of an event, and we will prevent default, and we tell axios to await the put action and HTTP put action to the, I mean, we can copy paste from above, HTTP localhost 205 category with actual category from our page state here, category from here with all the ID, name, and description. We will put, why do we put? Let's remember, by the way, in the category we have the put action for the updating the categories here. We implement it that way, so we implement that way also in the UI. And we will router after update go back. No, not go back. We can push categories listing page. Let's draw our HTML here. Return. Let's put a class like that, and we can put a title called edit category. We can start a form. It handles submit, handled like here. Let's put our inputs. Our first input will be type text. I mean, we cannot change the ID, so we will focus immediately to category name. So it's can be changed. This input placeholder. Let's put category name here, and the value needs to be category name or empty string. On change event, let's set category, which is implemented by us here. Set category, take the category and the name of the category, and just assign our input target value to it. Our state data is updating according to our HTML input element. Let's repeat this one again for the description. Think about it. What can we do? The description can be a little bit longer. I forgot the closing tag of this input. Set category can be right here. So now we will use the text array because it could be bigger. The description can be bigger. Could be a paragraph. Let's use a class for the heading 2. And our placeholder could be description value. The initial value will be category description or string. On change, let's copy from here, paste here. I mean, set category. Now it needs to be set the category of category description to the target value. So let's not forget the closing tag like this. Now we can put a submit button there. I mean, button type submit will automatically goes to on form submit, and it will goes to handle submit, and it will tell the axios to put the state category data into the service. Class name, we can use green button with white text on it. We can give a padding vertically 4, horizontally 2, and it should be a rounded button. We can say save, and we need to have also a go back button, a cancel button. I mean, people can think of this about a little bit outdated, but still this type of user interface is commonly used. I mean, a cancel button is a stereotype, you know. It could be a blue one. I mean, same thing for and to padding, and it should be rounded, but we need to center the text because right now we are not using a button, we have a link. So just right inside it, cancel. Why this button type is not type? Not submit. Good. I found out the typo. So the edit category is ready. What is missing is add category. Let's put a page.tsx here. Same drill. We need to add our imports, axios, link, router, effect, and we can copy and paste from edit and change accordingly because add is the same like edit. Let's copy the edit into add first, and part by part let's change it. Instead of getting the id from the parameters, it needs to be a 0 because it's an add. id will be generated from the database, not by us. So this is the same. We don't need to use effect to get anything because we don't get anything. This submit will post category instead of put. Let's go back and see. We have put category and a post category. Which is the post category? Is the create action. So this is the same probably, and yeah, like this. There is nothing more needs to be changed. Let's check how it goes. Right now the categories link from the home page should be running fine, but in order to run our application we need to again some definitions. Think about it. 5205 next port is 5206. We can run this in this 5206 port on our localhost. By the way, if we go back and check the first video, we allow from the cross-site scripting that port, so we need to use that port for our React application. Let's create a folder to run it from the VS Code called VS Code. So we need two files. First is the tasks JSON, and second file would be launch JSON. So I have given both task and launch JSONs for the UI and backend in the GitHub repository, so we can take that from here. This is launch JSON, this is task JSON. Let's read. I mean, I am saying this is a run React development server. It is node, it requests to launch, and it says in the terminal basically npm run dev -- with port 5206. I mean, use the integrated terminal, which is in the Visual Studio's Visual Studio Code integrated terminal, which will be here underneath, and the workspace folder is the workspace folder that we are working in, and the task is a build task. I mean, npm dev port 5206. Again, the same command in the shell, npm run dev -- port 5206, and it's kind of built. So if we go to run in the back, if we say bot, we will see run react dev server. So let's run the run react dev server. In the integrated terminal, you will see what's happening. Debugger needs to be attached, and we should be fine to see the categories. Look, in local, it's hosted at the port 5206. So if we go back here and go inside to localhost 5206, we need to see our React application. It says a compiled error. Oh, in the Providers.tsx, we may make my script error. Let me just think about this bug. Yes, what we forget about is use client, because it's saying you are importing a component needs use state. This React hook only works in a client component. To fix, mark the file or its parent with the use client directive. Let's mark it. And as soon as we marked it, I think it's compiled without a problem. Yes, at the port 5206, we can go inside the categories. Can we? Oh, again, we have an issue. I think we forget use. Yes, again, we forget that also there. I mean, did you forget in the edit or add? No. Okay. says it's loading. Yes, we have all the categories here. We can add new, we can delete, we can go to products, which is not implemented right now. Oh, by the way, let me tell you something. This left hand corner is something when you are development here, you can change the theme position, and all those can be set or turned off in this config. If you just write here dev indicators false, I mean it will automatically go. Let's refresh. It's compiling all over again. Yeah, the development indicators are gone. I mean that's a nice thing, but if you want the developer indicators, please comment out this, and again it will recompile with development indicators on. And if you go back, you will see your development indicators here, the home and the development indicators are back. Okay, let's test. Let's add new category. Delete this, delete me, delete this category, please. Let's save it. Oh, delete me is here. Let's edit. Delete me again. Yes, let's delete them. Okay, it's deleted. Yeah, our logic is working. Let's implement more like this. Let's go back to our app and let's dive into the customers. For the customers, again, we need to have a page.tsx. Same drill. Don't forget to use client. Let's make smaller the terminal. By the way, right now, while we are developing, we can also run the React development server. As we change our web application, the browser will be automatically updating itself. So you don't need to stop debugger. I mean, that's a good thing from React. Let's create a class for the customers here. Export default function customers. And same deal like before. We need a query client. We need a router. We need to fetch customers the same way. We need to fetch all the customers with query key of customers from the service endpoint, customer endpoint. So again, we need to have a delete mutation like categories did. We need to have a delete mutation to customer with an ID, and in the mutation we will tell the axios to actually send the delete command, and after delete command is succeeded, invalidate our queries. If there is an error, we will show it in the console and with alert with this JavaScript message box. And that's it. This is our delete mutation, and we can handle delete. And you want to delete the customer? Yes, if it is okay with it, user can tell yes, and delete mutation will mutate with that ID, and it will go to use mutation, and axios will actually send a signal, and backend will be send a signal to database with the providers. All those layers will be working, and the customer will be deleted. So we will put again a loading and error screen or user interface, as you can see. And again, we need to also return our default HTML here. How do we do that? First thing first, we need to again have a body div like this. So inside it, we need to a header called customers. We need to have again same deal like categories, two buttons like this, which is the home and the customers add new, and we need to have a table. Let's we are putting the table in the wrong here. Table should be here, and let's put a row, add a row like this. The first column will be the ID. Let's check the customers. Oh, sorry, this is the database, and the customers data type is something like that. ID name, contact name, company name, title, address, city, region, postal code, country, phone, fax. Yes, we can edit one by one. First the ID, then the company name, then the contact name, contact title, address, city, region, postal code, country, phone, fax, and all the data columns are left, and we will put in the end of it the actions column. So according to our pattern, let's put our body customers map to a customer inside it, the lambda function, a delegate like this, and inside it let's put for each customer a row like this. Inside the row, one by one, let's put the columns: customer ID, customer name, contact title, address, and all the others: city, region, postal code, country, phone, and fax. Here it is. Then the actions. Let's go inside the actions. TD last name adding one. First, we need to have a link to edit the customer the same way like before. Link that goes to customer edit slash with customer ID, class name blue, and padding one. So we say as a content edit. That's it. Now we need to have a delete button like before. Here it is. On click, we can handle delete with our custom method like here. We'll call our method above. And also think about it. Let's go back to see our service. The orders can be filtered out by the customer. The customer ID can be filtered the orders. So the customer has orders. Let's check from the database. Look, a customer can have multiple orders, or any order should be having a customer here. So according to this knowledge, we can put here a customer orders button. So let's put it. Link with the class name again with blue padding 1, and target should be order slash customer, which will be go to order route. Inside the order route there will be a customer route, and the customer route will be filtered out with the customer customer ID. So the link can say order because we are in a customer row. So that's it. That's the customer list. So the customers also needs to have an edit by ID and add functionalities. Let's for edit the same drill. We need to use the client and all those imports. We can right now define our customer type as it is from our service with ID, name, contact name, title, etc. So here because we are using TypeScript, the types can be defined like this. So what's special about this? The customer ID is not an integer, it's a string. So just remind ourselves this. So edit customer function is defined, and we will take the ID from the parameters. We will use the router like this, and just right now the state function like this. The customer ID should be the ID. So now we can fetch the customer with axios like this. Again, we can handle the submit like this. We can target the customer endpoint, and we can set the customer by put method. Now we can go to here and define our HTML. So let's put an edit customer header like this. Immediately after, we can start a form with handle submit, which is defined here. We are putting data to handle submit. I explained everything before with the categories. Now we can start with company name, which is the first function, first property inside our data, which is the first input for company name, placeholder company name. We will set the target value if it changed by user. So let's don't forget the closing tags because I'm getting a little bit angry about it. Use the intonation. Everything is string here. Think about company name, contact title, address. We can put for each of them an input and the same input. Let's put them contact name, contact title, address, and all the others. Tax, phone, country, postal code, region, city. Right now our form inputs are okay. We can now put the same styled save button here from the categories. So it's repeating itself right now. Now we need to have the same type of cancel button. It will go back to customers list like this, and the cancel button, which is blue. The green one will be the submit one. So that's it. That's the edit. Let's go to add and create a new file, page.tsx. And for the add, we can take the edit, copy and paste here, and we will just change what we need. We can change to add customer. The ID will be constantly nothing, because think about it, the customer ID is a string, so we need to use a empty string as an ID. We will change the submit put to post, because our post actions in the backend are, look at here, post actions in the backend for every entity like order, customer, category. Post actions are great. So the HTML is the same, all the inputs. Maybe in the future the address line can be changed to the text area, but right now it's not necessary for the POC. We have a submit save button and customer cancel button. That's it. This is the customer's edit. So we don't need anything for the customers. Let's go to suppliers, because The products and orders are intriguing because categories have products, customers have orders, so suppliers can have products. So it's a little bit different. The suppliers is much more a copy paste. So first thing first, let's put suppliers and copy paste it from customers or categories and change the necessary parts. So again, we will tell it this suppliers. We will change the supplier function. We will use a query to the supplier. We will change our data object to the supplier. So we will accordingly copy paste and replace customers with suppliers here. I mean, suppliers are same thing like customers because suppliers supplying elements, and those elements, sorry, those products will be sold to customers. So the customers are suppliers. Sometimes the customers are suppliers. Sometimes suppliers are the customers. Basically it's the same thing. So we will change the header to the supplier. We will supplier add method, and the same level of properties are almost the same, little difference. So the suppliers are okay now, but the edit supplier is here, edit here. So for the edit, we can put a page.tsx here. So we can use this edit as a supplier. We need to change function name. Now it's edit supplier, and the supplier ID, company name, contact name, everything is here as a supplier. So we will write the fetch according to the supplier endpoint. We will handle submit with put to the endpoint, and if it's completed, we will go back to supplier screen, and this is the same inputs like editing a customer or category. We will have a submit button and cancel button that goes back, and for the edit is almost the same like edit a customer. We will copy paste the add from the customers, and we will change it to the add supplier. We will put the supplier parameters here. We will handle submit to the supplier endpoint with the supplier object. We will rename the title to the supplier. We will handle submit here with the post because it's add. We will change the put to post. We will set the company name, contact name, inputs, and in the end we will submit or with cancel go back to supplier second. So the suppliers are okay now. Let's go to first orders. Let's go to first in products, not the orders. The products are much more easier, and the final will be the orders. For the products, we need to again have a page.tsx. Page.tsx. It can be started very straightforward like before. We will use and add the imports here. We can define our function as a product, and we will import the query client and the router here. Basically, we can fetch all the products like this with products query key, and we can query the product endpoint like this. Again, we can define a delete notation. You delete the product in the row with the product ID. On the success, we can invalidate the query, and the row, all the products which is deleted, it will be gone from the list. And if there's an error, we will notify the user on alert. We need to, of course, a handler for the delete button, and we will ask there to user, are you okay? You delete this, and we need a loading and error UI like this. After that, we can return our user interface, a holder div, a title, products with a home, and products add new link. After that, we can put now our table. Let's put the table headers. In the header, we can define our row, and inside the row, let's check what the product has. Look, product ID, name, supplier ID, category ID, quantity per unit. According to this knowledge, let's write down our headers: ID, name, supplier ID, category ID, quantity per unit, unit pairs, unit in stock, unit on order, reorder level, discontinued, and the final column will be the actions. And header is, I think, complete. Now we can go inside the body. Now we will map our product into a table rows with the product ID and with the orange hovered color. Let's start our first column inside that row, which will be the product ID. The second is product name. The third is a little bit different. Let's write together. Again, same thing, but right now we need to have a link with a target suppliers/edit, because at that moment that supplier ID will be clickable, and when the user will click, it should go to, which is implemented in the supplier route, to the edit of the supplier, and we will put the product supplier ID here. So the class name text blue 500, and inside the link we can say product supplier ID. I mean, maybe in the future we can put their supplier name too, but that would be in the future. Now for the POC it would be a ORAD for our service. For the category, the same drill. We can put a link for the category, and for the category ID, if we click it, it will be go to categories edit route. The other columns until the reorder level, straightforward. Quantity per unit, unit price, units in stock, products, units on order, and reorder level. I mean, after that we can check the discontinued, because reorder, units in stock, all those are basic types like number and strings, but discontinued is a boolean. So to represent a boolean, still it's a basic type, but we need to represent it properly, because we cannot say 0 1 or true false. I mean, we can discontinue it, we can say yes or no. Let's put that way. So if the product is discontinued, let's say yes, or else let's say no. So nice handling. After that we can start the actions here. The first action will be the edit, which is the easiest one right now because we implemented that before. It will target the product /edit with the product ID, the blue text inside edit. The next one will be the delete, something like that, with the red text, and on click it will go to the handle delete, and inside we are writing the delete. So after the enclosed tr, we need to put our brackets, and we need to close our body and table div and all the remaining brackets too. So the products listing page is okay, and the product needs to have an edit. The products needs to have an add for the edit. Again, it's very straightforward. Let's copy paste from somewhere else, and we will define the product with the product ID, name, and supplier ID as a number, category ID as a number, quantity per unit is a string in the database, I don't know why, unit price as a number, stock number, and discontinued is a boolean. Think about it. Right now we have an issue here. The supplier ID of a product is connected to a supplier, so we need to define a supplier for a combo box here. So the supplier ID and the company name can be used as a property and a value keychain. So key property value can be defined in this products edit, because if we are editing a product, we can reselect from that combo box that supplier as well as the category. So let's edit product, use ID inside the parameter, router, those are the same. We can write the set product like this, but set suppliers, look, also we can target as an array of supplier, run an empty array, and categories from a kept category like this. Now we can fetch product immediately after fetching the product from the product endpoint, and we can set the product to our state. Immediately after we can set the supplier list. So we go to supplier endpoint, we will tell the axios get the supplier array from the results, so we can set the supplier like this. We can fetch the category list like this, then we will set the categories. Because we are fetching those, we can use them as a combo box in the upcoming HTML elements. In the handle submit, look at here, we are again putting the products into the axios pool, and if it is okay, we can push back to list of products screen again. So let's define the inputs. First, we need to have a product name, which is straightforward. As a text input, we can target a value like this. And the next thing could be intriguing. Let's write a supplier drop down here like that. So we need to have a select class name border of p2, and the value can be product supplier ID. So the initial value has set. And what about the user changed the supplier from that drop down? We can handle it with set product of product in our state with supplier ID and number of e target value. This is our select. But what about the selectable items like options? Value 0, which will be disabled, will be the header. We can say select supplier. So suppliers can be mapped across here as selects options. Like we will write down an option with the key as supplier ID, and the value of that option will be a company name. So in that option, we can just write it down as supplier ID as company name. So that select is complete. I mean, the same way, because we have the suppliers and categories in our state, we can use the categories because we fetched it in the category list like this. We go to the category and we fetched them all. So we can copy paste the supplier drop down and easily turn them into a category drop down like this. So after that, everything is same. Like we can paste it here. So after the category drop down, we will use the category ID and category name inside the drop down with the select category on top of it as a disabled selection as a header. We can input a quantity per unit. It's a string input, don't forget it. Unit price, it's a number input, so we can use the input type number, as well as unit in stock type number, and units on order is a text. Sorry, needs to be a number. So reorder level, it's a number. In the end, the discontinued item needs to be a checkbox, input checkbox. So input type checkbox, and we set product is going to target checked. I mean, it's very easy. So I mean, this class name means horizontally and vertically 5 pixels, and text needs to be a blue. The border should be gray 30, and it's rounded. So on the focus ring needs to be blue. So just right hand side of this checkbox, we need to write discontinued because checkbox defaultly doesn't have any kind of placeholder or text inside it. So the span represents discontinued. In the end, we will tell the submit button here. We will put it as a save. A green one, a blue one is the cancel, and go back to products. So we can go to add products, new file, page.tsx. So here, I mean, the same drill. Let's write it together and copy paste from the edit. The imports, we need to have a type of product. We need to at least a type of supplier with minimal necessary property for combo boxes, and same drill for category with minimal property for the combo box. Here it is. So we can export default function add product here. We can put it here. So the ID needs to be a 0 because we are adding a new product here. Think about it. So we need to define the set product and state like this with the product ID. I mean, we can use number ID too, or we don't. So for the combo boxes, we have 2 combo boxes. First is the supplier combo box. For the supplier, we will put suppliers and set supplier from state. Use state supplier array with an empty array. And the second combo box, constant categories, set categories, use state of category array inside the constructor and empty array. So all are defined, and we can fetch supplier with use effect in a method. I mean, it's the same. We will tell to axios to get supplier array from an HTTP endpoint localhost 5205 supplier. Then we will use that result to set the state of the suppliers. Set suppliers is not found. Oh, that's a typo. Set suppliers. Okay, this will fetch supplier list. I mean, let's fetch category list too. And we just made a typo here. We need to do that initial dependency and array. Okay, let's also handle submit after the effect. Post, because right now we are adding, it's not a put, it's a post. So the same drill like before. We can use our HTML here. We will return and add product here. We will handle submit on form submit. We will set the product name, the supplier drop down, copy paste from the edit, the drop downs from the category at the category. I mean, was a typo inside at the category. Yes, we fixed our typos. Okay, and in the end and reorder level. Yeah, to fix those, we can say use the number. That's much more convenient. Units in stock is a number too. Let's fix all those. Unit price is a number. Can convert the target value to a number. Number. If you go back to edit, maybe there's a problem there too. No, it's fixed there. Okay, so that's how we add a product. So the product has more, not just like that. I mean, think about it. The products can be called via supplier. Go to list, look at there, the products / supplier, and the products also can be called from the category list. Look, go to category list and check that link, categories and products / category. So I think product needs to have rows like category as well as supplier. So those filters needs to have tsx, and for the category, let's think about it and copy paste from the same list. There is nothing more. Only what we need to change here is name of the function. We will query product / category with the ID in order to get the products from our service, because if we go back to our service, the product / category with ID gets the products of that category. So we are putting that here. So the delete mutation, the HTML, all are the same from the listing of the product, and we are not changed anything here. Only change is that, and we can copy this and paste to supplier to page.tsx. I mean, we are repeating ourselves. In the future, after the POC, we can also implement some kind of abstraction inside the React application, but first we need to finish and accept in this POC whatever technical debt we have created right now. Look at this. Also, for the supplier, we need to call and consume the product / supplier route with the supplier ID, and that's it. Also, we need to also change the name of the function, the product supplier. So everything other than that is the same from the product list. So the products are completed too. Let's go to the orders. Let's create a page.tsx. So in the orders, in the page.tsx, let's start with the same basic things, the imports and use client. Let's use the orders function here. I mean, it's very straightforward in the beginning. There is nothing different. Let's fetch the orders with the order endpoint, and after that, let's define a delete mutation. Let's handle that delete. Let's put in a loading. Let's put our header and top row buttons like home and add new order. Let's go and check the order types. I mean, all those. According to this, let's create a table and headers here, and in the body, let's map the orders, some certain rows for each order. First, we put the order ID, then it will come to the customer ID, which will be redirected to customer edit. We done it before. I'm just copying pasting that. So we will go to customers edit with the link with that customer ID, and we need to have an employee ID here. We didn't implement anything with the employees. I know if you go to the database, the employees are another type of entity, and every employee can have multiple orders, or at least an order needs one employee. But this is not included in our POC, so it will be included in the next sprint. So it will be included in the at least minimum viable product. But right now we don't care about it. We don't put anything but pure string of an ID. Let's came to a date, the order date. We need to show the order date in a proper way, because or else it will be look ugly. Let's call new date from order date. Order date. We will make it to local date string, because we don't need show the time of the order. We only need the date. So if we copy and paste this to required and ship date, all the dates that we need like this, so it will be very nice. The other columns are very straightforward, and they are texts like this. And now the action buttons. We go to action buttons. We need to have a edit like this, and we need to have a delete button with the handler like this. Should do it. Delete. Okay, and after that we can close everything that we opened. So this will be the basic order list for our application. Now the edit of the orders will be intriguing because think about it, we didn't put any order items screen here because what I want to, let's check the first, the order and order detail relation from the database and from the service. Look, orders needs to have multiple order details, which is actually a product with a quantity inside that order. That makes orders have a list. I'm thinking an user interface and order elements along with a data grid when we are editing an order. Because when we are editing an order, we are adding order items, products inside that order. And we need to make them in one screen. So order and order details in a certain point of view of user interface are represented in the same user interface screen. So if we think about it, and with the set of mind, we need to implement a user interface inside order add and edit. First, let's go to edit an order. The order ID, let's put a file page.tsx. Yeah, by the way, let's a little bit clear out everything here because lots of tabs are here. Let's close them one by one. So we need to have a better area to edit what we need to edit. So we need to use client again. So the queries are coming and mutations are coming. We need to navigation. We need to have the state and effect. We need to axios first. We need to have the link and we need some special thing too. Think about it. An order has some IDs like required date, ship date, order date. So we need to have a date picker. That's it. Let's import our date picker and define the order type first. In a TypeScript, so we can define it. And we need to also define the order detail like with order ID, product ID, unit price, quantity, and discount. Here it is. For the orders, we will select the customer from the customers table. So we can represent the customers with a drop down, the select. So let's put the customer here. So let's create our function, call it edit order. We need to use client and ID from the parameters and the router. And for the customer drop down, we can copy paste from the product. So it's the same. We need to define the order from state, set order. We can define all elements like this. And let's first thing first, for the drop down, let's fetch the customer list like this. Then we need to fetch order, but it will be a little bit different. Let's think about it. There are dates inside it and the date time formats could be different from our .NET endpoints. And we need to convert that dates into the JavaScript dates in order to represent in the date time picker. So here, let's set a constant res.data of data, then set order for each data. And here, let's wrap the incoming values in date. So order date needs to be a new date from the order date. So right now, from string, because let's go back and check to understand this matter more. If you traverse the order from the service, what we will be getting is, look, the order date. I mean, it's a string now. Look, yeah, it's a date time, but it will be represented as a string in the service endpoint. So because of that, we need to convert the order date to a JavaScript date type, and the others, the required date and ship date too. And let's close the axios fetch order. Let's fetch order details, and order details is quite straightforward, but let's write it together. Constant data order details is an array. Instead of undefined, we are setting an empty array. Is loading error. You can tell use query with query key order details and ID. We will include ID so it fetches when the order changes. Let's write the query function. Constant result result await, tell the axios get type of order detail array, and from the endpoint http localhost 205/order details/order. I mean, it's same drill. If you check database, check the endpoint. If we go to the order details, The order details can be filtered out by an order, or an order details can be checked from an order ID and product ID. But right now we are focused on this endpoint. I mean, for the order, we can filter out the order details with that method. So ID here, then we will return res.data. That's it. And the handle submit. I mean, the handle submit is also will change according to dates, around the dates. So for the order, we will wrap around all the dates into the string. Let's think about it, because again, the types string of an order, and if we want to put an order, it needs to be a string. So we can convert the JavaScript dates to ISO string, and the others do like this. Then after, we can say the router, you can push and navigate to orders string, which is the back. So this is the handle submit method. About delete mutation, it could be a little bit different too. So we should be able to also delete the order items inside an order. But how do we do that? In the delete mutation, we can say, I mean, this is the order items, order details delete mutation, by the way, not the order. Don't confuse it. Use mutation of void, its return type, unknown, which is the error type, and the variables will be order ID, which is number, product ID, which is number. So why am I doing that? Because I'm targeting now order details / order ID and product ID here. So in the delete, it waits for me an item 1 and item 2. So I'm wrapping around this tuple delete method inside React. So on our delete mutation, the variables are set, and let's open a mutation function. Mutation function is async, again, the order ID and product ID. We will await the axios actually deletes, I mean, send the delete request as a HTTP request to the HTTP localhost 205 / order details, I mean, which is the this delete method with the item 1 and item 2. Let's put the item 1 and item 2 here with the body data item 1 order ID, item 2 product ID. On success, we can invalidate queries. We need to include the order ID in the key so it references the right list. Okay, and query key to order details and ID here. On error, let's put the delegate for the on error. I mean, we can say again alert in the console and the alert box. So we can handle with a method this delete mutation. We can ask the user a confirmation about order ID and product ID. And we can say we know what order we are in as a user, so we don't need to mention order ID or confirm. We can ask, are you sure you want to delete that order detail with that product? If it is okay with the user, then we can go to the delete mutation, and we already written our delete mutation, so we can easily go inside to HTML now. I'm thinking a layout like on the left hand side of the screen we can edit the actual properties of the order, and the right hand side always we can show the items, details, products in the order. So left hand side and right hand side. If you think like that, we can write an HTML like return the last name needs to be flex column, items will be top, and md flex row by row. So first section widget will be heading with the 4 and width will be the 100, and here we can put an header, class name x large, and font semi bold, bottom pixel margin, edit order with an ID. We are editing an order. Then we can put a form submit here, the handle submit. Then we need to have a customer drop down, which can be copy pasted from the product section like this. This will be the customer drop down, customer ID selection, and it shows the company name of the customer in the option. So next will be the order date, which is intriguing. Let's put a div and put a label with the class name, block, bottom 1 pixel margin, and text needs to be small, which is the order date. This is the label, and after immediately the label, let's put a date to it. On selected, we can target the order date immediately from the state. And on change, the user changed the date to set the order. Let's call it O. And inside the order date A. So this is the change. We can go one line below, and here we can say the date format, month, day, year. I mean, it will be used in United States and United States only. It's the domestic application. Let's think about it. Last name, the border, P2, it full, background white, text black, dark background gray, 800, very good style. For the calendar class name, we can use something like that. White background, black text, dark background gray 800, dark gray text 100, and shadow large. What about day day class name? We can use something like that. Hover background gray and hover background gray, dark hover. So when the day is hovered, it will be a gray one. So I think this is also set, and we need a closing tag of the date picker. That's it. This is our date picker. So it's for the order date. I mean, accordingly, we can copy and paste a required date like this. After that required date, we can put a ship date like this. Then after, we can put the other basic number and text inputs, because it's all the same like before, like in products, customer categories. We have freight, ship name, it's a task, freight is a number, ship address, ship region, ship city, ship postal code, and ship country. After that, we can put a submit button, green, and saving it. And if user cancels it, can always go back to order screen with this cancel button. We can close the form and div here, but the next, let's come to the list. We can put a div here like this, and inside that div, let's put a header with order details. In the order details, let's put a link. We need to have ability to add new order details. We will redirect that link to orders, edit with an ID /details/add, because right now we are in the orders edit ID already, and we can put a new folder called details. I mean, we can edit with this page.tsx. We can add a detail to that order. I'm sorry, the folder structure needs to have an add here, and this page.tsx needs to be inside the add. So maybe in the future we can put an edit, but it's unnecessary. User can delete and add. And let's put a table to represent. For the headers, it's very straightforward. We can put a row with product ID, unit price, quantity, discount, and of course actions. I mean, actions for deleting that element, deleting that order item from the order details. So for the body, let's go to body, order details. We can map the order details with a row first. We can put a product ID here, and the product ID needs to be targeted as a link like this to the products here, edit here, order detail product ID. So it's clickable now. If we click that link, we'll go to edit that product. So we can also edit that product from that list too. Then we will put the discount and unit price and quantity just below. Unit price, quantity, and discount automatically here. So right now the actions. For the actions, it's again very straightforward. There's action cell here. We will just put one action, which is the delete. We have a delete button. It's red and it goes to handle delete, and it takes the order ID and product ID from that order details as a parameter. That's it. I think we can close now all the tags that we have opened like this. Now we have an edit. Let's put a detail set here. Again, it starts with straightforward with imports, and we need to define the order detail. On top of it, we need to select from a drop down a product like this. So we can start our function with use parameters, the ID, which will be order detail ID, by the way, here, order ID, sorry about it. There is no order detail ID here. We have an order ID and product ID combined as a tuple order detail ID. So we are just passing the ID as an order ID. The product ID is not right now set, so the product ID is 0. So let's define the order detail state set method like this. Look, the product ID is 0 because whenever we insert the product, it will be generated by the database. So after that, if the user doesn't like that, he or she can delete previous order edit screen and add and edit one by one order details as a product inside the order. Let's fetch the product list here. I just forgot to set the products here. Yes, set products method is here. Now it's meaning this is the same drill with categories and suppliers combo boxes. I'm intended to do products drop down. We will handle submit with the put method, post method, because we are adding an order detail. I mean orders slash if we're done with it, we will go back to edit screen of the order again. But the order details will be pushed as a post to order details endpoint of our service. Let's write our HTML like this. We will adding an order detail, but which order? The ID of the order is here in the title. We will handle the submit on our form. The level is the same. We will put a product drop down. It can be copy and pasted from the supplier and category drop down from the product. Right now we are selecting a product drop down from an order detail, and we are setting the order detail product ID to the target value, and we are showing the product ID and product name concatenated together inside our options. So the others, the unit price is a number and the quantity is another number. I mean, unit price is a number, but I am changing the step to 0.1 because it's a decimal. User needs to understand that if they are using the min buttons like up and down, just right hand side the number selection. So the quantity is an integer. No need to change the step here. So the discount also is a decimal. So I'm changing the step to 0.1. Next, we need to have a submit button. It's very easy. And we need to have a cancel button if we don't want to add that order item into the order. So it will go back to order slash edit with that ID. It will be a cancel button and it will be blue. Now we can close all the tags that we have opened here like this. Now the add of a detail is okay. Now what only missing is the add of an order and page.tsx. I mean, it's very straightforward right now. We will remove all the detail screen from the edit, like here, the order details. We don't need any order details by adding. Only editing screen can have it. I mean, this is a POC. In the future, we can much more implement much more complicated order and order details combined user interface with inline editing grid. But right now, as an add, a simple order adding screen will sufficient. We can use the client again, and we can define the order and customer. We can set the states and copy paste everything from the edit screen, but only the left hand side part. I mean, without the order details. We don't need to get. We will change that order detail. Oh, sorry, it's an add order. So yes. Order detail. It's an order and order ID is 0, which will be created from scratch, and we will in the response body I'm changing something here. Let's focus on this part. We will send the post and grab the created order from the response body because the response will return our order immediately after that, because we are trying to create the seamless UI. If it is a POC, it doesn't matter. The customer will require that. So immediately after that created order, I am taking that ID from that created order, like order ID. I will pull the return order ID and I will navigate straight to the edit page from that order. So for the customer convenience, it's convenient now. It will create the basic properties like ships to ship agent and order dates, required dates. Immediately, if it is saved, right hand side, there will appear a grid. Because now we are in the edit screen, so the edit screen has that grid in order to able to add the order details with the products. So all others are same here, no major change. So let's go back to our user interface. Is anything changed here? Can we go to products? Yes, you can see all the products here. We can go to supplier directly from that product. Oh, suppliers edit 1. We made a mistake in the products. Did you see that mistake? In the products listing page, we forgot about this slash. So we fixed our bug. If we select that supplier, we will go back to edit of that supplier. Let's wait for the right. Yep. If we cancel it, we will go back to suppliers. Let's check every list. Categories, it's working. Products, it's working fine. Customers, it's working fine. I mean, by the way, it's saying customers is created in this milliseconds. Very nice from the React framework. Let's go to suppliers. Suppliers are here. Let's go to orders. I mean, most intriguing are orders. There should be lots of orders. We can edit the customer via clicking the customer name inside that order. Here it is. Customer VNet. We can cancel this. We can go to that VNet customer. We can say, let's bring me the orders of that customer. Oh, order/customer VNet. That's wrong. In the customer screen, we made a typo. Orders/customer. Right now, if we go to VNet and click orders, oh, this is not implemented. Okay, we just forgot about that. So let's go back. Let's edit that order. Yep, details are here. Orders are here. We can add new order detail. We can select the product. Jang. Unit price 0, 1, 2, 0 discount. Say, yep. We can delete that. We have one issue. In the use mutation, we have made a mistake. I think I fixed my mistake here. Okay, I fixed my mistake here. So right now, there was a small mistake in the mutation. So here needs to be an opening tag. That was a problem. These two. So it's fixed now. Right now, we can delete this detail and add as many as you want. So order is working fine. Go back to orders. We can go back to home. We can go back to products. We can go back to supplier. We can cancel. We can select the supplier here. I mean, we can see the products of that supplier. I found my mistake here. Supplier, we have an ID where it's staying here, and page.tsx needs here. And now it will became here as a supplier. Products of a supplier now. Okay, now the products are filtered according to supplier. Let's see, can products filtered by categories? Same mistake here, I think. Yes, category needs to have an ID route here, and this page.tsx needs to be inside that ID. Okay, now we'll be started. Now we have filtered the category. We can immediately go to supplier. Nice. We can go to category from the supplier too. We can go to category. We can go to products. We can go home. We can add a product. We can select supplier. We can tell some product. We can capital 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not discontinued. Save some product. Look at this here. We can create an order about it. Let's go back to home. Product. Create all product. Go in the order. Let's see the experience. Add new. We can select the customer. We can select an order date. Just today, tomorrow, required date, ship date will be this one. Shipped via 1, rate 1, ship name S, ship address A, ship region R, ship status S, postal code 12345, ship country USA. Save. Voila. The order details appeared here. Let's add an order detail. We will select our new product, some product. Unit price 1, quantity 2, discount 0. Here it is. We can add more. We can select. Let's make an error. We will try to add the same thing. Now we have an issue. Right. Because we can add the same product over and over again. We can add another. And we can delete. That's it. Probably I didn't make any more mistake here. Let's cancel the orders. Maybe we can see our order somewhere. Oh, it's here. Can delete this order. No, because the order has some element in it. Let's go inside it. We will delete our detail. We will save our order. It will go back to orders. We will find out our order. It's in the end, and we can delete our order. It's gone. It works fast, and this is the React UI user interface on our backend. It's completed. It looks nice and works fast. So day 2 is completed with the React user interface. In upcoming improvements, we can, in the next upcoming video, we can also introduce some kind of paging also in the backend and in the front end too, because this list has too much items here. So we need to have some kind of filtering about columns here, maybe a search here, something like that. So let's think about it for the future. We can put a search box here. We can make some filtering here. So we need to definitely have some kind of paging, maybe 10 over 50 page, and next button will be here, something like that. we can make inline editing possible, because think about it, if we go inside that this user interface, maybe unit price can be edited here immediately in this grid. So here maybe editable input, instead of going another screen from here, it will be wrong. So maybe a theme selection for the user interface, it could be at the home screen, I mean white theme. I mean it's very easy. If you go to the code and in the CSS, global CSS, instead of dark theme, you can go for the light theme, and the application will be turned into a light theme, something like that. But we need to hard code some CSSs, so we need to change this orange colors, and probably we have some style issues we will need to fix with the supplier. No, it's working fine. Okay, so now we have the light theme. Maybe we can put a drop down here to select the light theme. About the backend, we can also improve our backend performance with implementing RabbitMQ. But first thing first, maybe with Redis cache, we can cache all the database structure until it changes. Think about it. System queries orders over and over and over and over again. Until the orders are changed, nothing changed. So we can cache the orders. I mean, we can cache at least the products and categories. Think about it. It's hard to change. And adding a new category, it's even harder to adding new suppliers and customers. I mean, products also. It's rarely adding. So we can cache those with Redis cache. So I can show the Redis implementation. But for the POC, the day 2 is complete. Now we have a POC product and it's very usable, and you can edit your database in 2 days with React and .NET 9 combined. Thank you for watching. If you didn't watch the day 1 video, please go back in the playlist and watch the day 1 video too. It's included the backend and the Swagger UI here, and all the codes are uploaded into the GitHub with Northwind under my name, OGU, github.com OGU Northwind. So go and take the code and play around yourself or your local. That's it. See you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Thanks.